Hi everybody, and welcome back to part 2 of today's video series. We still have a lot to cover. Let's go. Now, keeping with Harry and Meghan and what's going on with the war, do you guys know that they helped fund a group called Gen Z for Change? It's one of the 26 groups that received part of the $2 million grant from the Archwell Foundation. And the executive producer actually criticized Israel for the horrific terror attack. Yes, the money that Archwell gave went to somebody who posting footage of free Palestine outside of the White House and top universities. Actually, 2 members of the activist group have been accused of posting anti-Israel rhetoric online. In case you guys have forgotten, Meghan's first husband or second husband, whatever you want to believe, was Jewish. She actually posted a statement on behalf of the nonprofit that the money was given to, and it took aim at Israel. Yeah. And she's been circulating statements by former Labour leader in the UK, Jeremy Corbyn, who was suspended after an anti-Semitism report. And let's not forget that Harry and Meghan put out a statement, and they stayed very neutral in that statement, and it did not go over well with a lot of their fans. Really makes you wonder about those two, doesn't it? All right, let's move on. You guys know I'm doing all of this about the war. So here's somebody, Dr. Dana Diab. She was an ER physician at Lenox Hospital, which, by the way, is a huge Jewish population. She put up a horrible post. It was then reported to the hospital, and the hospital now says that she is no longer employed. Boom. Then you have this doctor who is a physician at Emory Winship Center Institute. She put up a horrible endorsement of what happened with the terror groups. Of course, people at Emory Hospital know what happened, and she is now on leave while they investigate. Doesn't take a genius to know they're going to fire her. Next up, 2 students at New York University were walking around campus taking down posters that had missing Israeli people and people that were being held hostage. They ripped them down, crunched them up, and stuffed them in a trash can. Well, of course, they were identified, and I can't even pronounce their names, but there you go. You can look at them right there. Here's their lovely pontiffs. See, I love this name and shame stuff, and let me explain to you why. The girl on the right, Yazim, has now deleted her Twitter account, her Instagram account, and has put out a statement. I guess she's trying to quell the backlash that is now coming her way. Very interesting. She actually had an internship with the Anti-Defamation League. That's scary. Now, for those of you who may doubt that, here is the posting that was on the Anti-Defamation League website. And here's what it looks like now because they scrubbed her off. There you go. Next up in our name and shame segment, we have a University of Pennsylvania student who did the exact same thing. He took down posters of kidnapped Israeli babies and kids, threw it in the trash. Take a good look at this guy. I think he should be easy to identify with that frickin' unibrow thing he's got going on. And sure enough, he was identified as a law student. Employee Matthew, I can't pronounce that last name. UPenn has now removed his photo. Maybe he's out of there. These schools are losing money hand over fist. Now, people are saying it doesn't make a big difference. I assure you it does. All right, one more name and shame. 2 men in Miami were removing posters of Israelis that had been kidnapped. They were caught on camera. Do people not realize there's cameras everywhere? Well, the one guy is a dentist. So, of course, he was identified and he lost his job. Wow, these people are stupid. All right, we're going to move on to this article now that's saying that Harry and Meghan are preparing for the next wave of their bitter royal feud because they're house hunting. I don't think that's got anything to do with the house hunting. I think it has to do with taxes. I think it has to do with Harry wanting to keep his Counselor of State position, which he can't do unless he has a house or a base in the UK. And so I think that's more like it. It's got nothing to do with the feud. He just doesn't want to let go of the UK, in my personal opinion. Let's move on to what I consider to be the big story for today. This rumor about William and Rose Hanbury, I think is how you say it. Now, she is married to the 7th Marquess. Don't ask me again to pronounce it. They have 3 children, a set of twins, and then another child born in 2016. They have a huge house called Houghton Hall in Norfolk. They are friends with William and Catherine. So here's what happened. Well, I should say here's what allegedly happened. Harry had to go to a state dinner in 2017. Apparently, he was already dating Meghan. Meghan was told she couldn't go to the state dinner because she was not engaged to Harry. Nothing. So Harry went and he was seated next to Rose. And then, of course, we heard that named Giles Coren put out basically a tweet where he alleged that the affair has happened. Okay? People went all over it, and there was a lot of backlash to Mr. Coren. So everybody was like, well, is it true? And then we come to find out that Mr. Coren had met and had been around Meghan Markle days earlier at a Soho house right before she and Harry decided to step back from, the royal family. So, of course, everybody's minds immediately went to, didn't Meghan ask him to put out this story? So things went so bad, he finally stepped up and said, I don't know them. I don't know anything about them. I made it up. I'm sorry. Let's all just move on. Well, of course, the Sugars couldn't do that. They latched on to this, and they're still going on claiming that there's been an affair. And of course, they gave no thought to Rose, her husband, her marriage, or her 3 very young children. So I found it interesting that I was on Twitter, and there was Giles Coren. And he was making a comment about another story he heard. So, of course, I wrote to him. I didn't think he'd answer, but I wrote to him and I said, I have a question. We all know the joke, because he's claiming it was a joke that you put out about William and the joke about the affair. But we also know you put it out right after you saw Meghan at the Soho house. So, is it true? Did she set you up? That's what people are saying. Somebody else said, yeah, I'd like him to answer that as well. And with that, he put up some, I don't know, how can you delude yourself? Were you ruled by lizards? I don't even know. But he claims he only met Meghan very briefly twice for maybe 45 seconds. Then he continues on to say her fans are bonkers, that her fans have accused him of abusing Harry and Meghan. Well, that was interesting. So with that, I just, I clarified. So your answer is no, because it is quite a coincidence that you met her and then put out that quote unquote, joke. I don't think it was funny, but, people think it was a setup. And he goes, no, it's a no. I've met her twice at parties and said barely more than hi. And then he said, I was a little shocked. He likes William and Kate. He admires them. And he just makes bad jokes. And with that, he also said that William and Catherine look incredibly happy to him, which of course the rest of us can see that. And I pointed out that, I am a small YouTube channel, but he eventually, I said, you said I was bonkers. And he comes back and says, okay, I withdraw the bonkers. There you go. From the horse's mouth. All right, you guys, you know what to do. Leave those comments, make them good. And if you've donated to my coffee fund or through the thanks button, thank you so much. And as always, have a great day.